Hi everybody, my name is Gary Castro and you are watching another episode of Ludwig Lane Music. Thank you for joining me today, and real quick, I just want to put this out there. Now, I'm starting this YouTube channel to share my love and my passion for music. I'm not only a performer, I'm an educator, and I am a producer and a composer. And my goal for this channel is to share my love for music. And hopefully you guys feel my passion for music and it rubs off on you folks. And that's my goal for this channel. That's all what I really want. So hopefully with these first few months of Ludwig Lane videos releasing, you guys could see my angle and where I'm coming from. And as you folks probably could tell by now, I have a penchant for music, history, and research. I love researching different topics about music, both classical, contemporary, jazz, any type of music. And I just love to share what I find. And that's another reason why I started this channel. Also, I'm trying to make videos on a regular basis. So if you guys could just support me and give me a thumbs up and comment and subscribe to my videos, that'll give me tons of encouragement and help me a ton with my channel. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to my little prelude out there. I will go ahead and start the show now. So we're finally here, Billy Joel's #1 song, in my opinion, and you folks already know. It's the song that got him his nickname, his magnum opus, Piano Man.
Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you got us feeling alright.
And we'll get to the story, but you folks already know. Cue the comp. So it was the early 70s, 1972, 1973. Billy Joel up and left the East Coast, mainly to get away from all the BS that was happening in Long Island. Long story short, he was on the lam from Artie Ripp. And Artie Ripp was the guy who signed Billy Joel to his Family Records, which was this semi-obscure label that Billy was second guessing why he signed with them in the first place. And I guess Billy wanted to bounce to the West Coast anyways, because he probably wanted to do some soul searching. And I like to say that this was his true college years without the college. In fact, it was street college. Yeah, street college. I like that. Anyways, when Billy got to LA, he worked a gig as a club's piano man. No pun intended. Actually, yeah, pun intended. But before we get into Billy's club gig in Los Angeles, we are going to take a trip inside Billy's mind. The signpost up ahead reads, "The Abyss." What exactly goes through a young artist's mind during a hopeless situation? This is the dimension of imagination. Your next stop, the BJ Zone. No, that doesn't sound right. The Billy Joel Zone. So Billy's time in LA was both boisterous and vexing. I mean, he was glad to be somewhere different, but since he was not used to West Coast LA culture, he was beginning to lament more and more on why he ended up moving from Long Island to LA. And it's safe to say, yeah, he was homesick. And even though he did not like his overall experience in LA, he obviously got a lot out of it. Yeah, he met a lot of interesting people and got a lot of life experience. And I don't know if he realized it at the time or not, but when he released his debut album, Cold Spring Harbor, things weren't looking so good at all. He was stuck on this crappy contract with crappy Family Records, and he knew that Family Records wasn't going to give him the resources that he needed to become successful. You could say he was actually set up to fail. So after thinking long and hard, an epiphany finally hit him. He needed a change in his life. He finally realized that a change might be beneficial to him. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Change can work wonders on a life. Why do you think they send addicts to faraway places, away from their homes?
When they go to rehab.
Or when people are desperately unhappy at their current place of work, why do they switch jobs so fast? That's if they're smart. Those situations put a person in a now or never mentality. Changes can be scary, but if they pay off, it could be life-changing. And I'm going to put on my philosophizer's hat for a moment.
Now he's a philosophizer.
So I've been thinking, many people outright say they don't like change, or they fear change. But as the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, the only thing that is constant is change. Nothing endures but change. Deep. So why do we fight change so hard? Why is the fear of change one of mankind's most common fears? And this also got me thinking as well. When things become stagnant and hopeless, what do you think the best kind of change for a person could be? A change in scenery, right? Had a bad breakup with your significant other? Hop on a plane. Stay at a different city for a while. Need to quit drinking? Maybe stay at a dry county for a week or two. Hate your job? Go to a different city. Find a new one. I don't know. All I'm saying is to ascend to that next level in life, you would have to do some heavy self-evaluation. And this will mostly lead to a person realizing that he must or she must have a change in scenery, which can only do good because you're away from bad habits and bad influences. I'll go ahead and take off my philosopher's hat for now. So Billy Joel used his LA change to begin a journey that would lead him to the top of the charts. And as mentioned, Billy was playing piano at a bar called the Executive Room in the Wilshire district of LA. This is where he was learning new skills and keeping up his performance chops. And during this time, it was great education for him because he was basically taking notes on how people reacted to certain situations and to certain songs and certain types of music. It was as if he was taking an awesome sociology and musicology class. Oh, and I know by experience, a drunk audience is the best audience to play for. Kinda? I don't know, some of them could get too touchy. I also had a person take away my mic, and she was trying to steal the show from me. And at the time, Billy was in dire straits. Cold Spring Harbor, his debut album, was received very lukewarmly. And this was the time where he was having a lot of self-doubts, which is nothing new for musicians. We are a very, very self-deprecating and low self-esteem kind of bunch. I know that for sure. Anyways, I'm going to tell you the story on how Columbia signed Billy. So it was 1972. And in the back of his mind, Billy knew that he done messed up because he was signed to Family Records at the same time he was signing with Columbia. Did he disclose this information to the A&R exec from Columbia? I don't know.
Oh, obviously Columbia had to find out, but I just wondered if Billy disclosed being signed with Family Records right away to Columbia.
Oh, and by the way, I talk about this in a little bit more detail in my Billy Joel biography videos. I'll post it up here. And keep in mind, this is all integral information because it leads up to the events of the Piano Man album. So I promise I'm not just rambling. So during the horrid Cold Spring Harbor tour, Billy and his band recorded an hour-long concert at a studio called Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well, one of the songs that Billy recorded at Sigma Sound was his Captain Jack. And Captain Jack is an awesome song about a neighborhood drug dealer back in his native Long Island. If you're a big Billy Joel fan, no doubt you've heard of Captain Jack. But if you're not aware of that song, please check it out after you're done with this video. It's a pretty awesome song with pretty cool lyrics. Shocking for the time, but cool nonetheless. It kind of reminds me of Guns N' Roses' Mr. Brownstone, but this was the 70s Billy Joel version. Anyways, Billy's Sigma Sound session recordings were a big hit in the Eastern Seaboard. Captain Jack got a ton of airplay in Philadelphia, and it actually reached the whole tri-state area. Yeah, one popular radio DJ in Philly at the time, his name was Michael Tierson of WMMR. He mentioned that Captain Jack was the most requested song for 2 years. Damn, for a concert recording, that's pretty damn awesome. So a Columbia Records exec by the name of Herb Gordon heard Captain Jack on Philadelphia radio, and he absolutely loved it. So he just had to search high and low for this unknown artist, Billy Joel, so he could be signed to Columbia Records. But this Herb Gordon fella had to get his boss's blessing. And who is his boss? It's the legendary producer / president of Columbia Records at the time, Clive Davis. Yes, the legend Clive Davis. So after Clive Davis gave Herb Gordon his blessing to go ahead and sign Billy Joel, Billy was eventually tracked down and was signed to Columbia Records. Oh, and for any of the young folks who do not know who Clive Davis is, he is the music producer / executive that has won 5 Grammy Awards. He's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a non-performer, and he was the president of Columbia Records from 1967 to 1973, which in my opinion was perhaps the greatest era of popular music ever. But in my opinion, his greatest achievement was having a hand in signing one of the greatest rock and pop acts of the 20th century. He had a hand in signing Janis Joplin, The Boss Bruce Springsteen, Chicago, friggin' Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, Whitney Houston, and that co-king of sultry soft rock, Barry Manilow. And I say co-king of soft rock because he shares his title with the great legend Michael Bolton. Ah, Clive Davis. He's a music all-star for sure. So Billy went ahead and signed with Columbia Records. But what I think happened is that he panicked and he ran off to LA, which I probably would have done the same thing. That way he was keeping a low profile, on the lam away from Artie Rip and Family Records. And he kind of figured that, hey, it's Los Angeles. It's the entertainment capital of the world. They have music studios galore there. I'll just go over to LA and record all my albums there. And who could blame him? That's what everybody was doing back in the day. And while Billy was in Los Angeles, he probably prayed to God that Family Records will somehow go away. And if you would like to know about Billy Joel's Family Records saga, please go ahead and look up my Billy Joel bio, which will be posted up here somewhere. But ultimately, I think what Billy Joel was thinking was that if he kept it 100% real, 100%, 100, that he could make pretty damn good music. And playing at the executive room could only increase his chops and increase his songwriting capabilities. So in LA, he did what he did best, play the piano and perform and write songs. So his time in LA resulted in the making of the Piano Man album, which was an album that cracked the top 20 in hit singles charts, and it was certified gold at the time. Not too shabby. Oh, and before we analyze the Piano Man song, I want to talk a little bit about this album cover. Now, I did talk about this in a previous video, but what the hell, man? Why did Columbia Records greenlight this? And Billy, Did you really think that this was a good idea to use this as a cover for your breakthrough album with Columbia? Ugh, creepy. Well, just so you folks know, this artwork was done by an artist named Bill Imhoff, who did his own interpretation of photorealism meets surrealism, I guess? And I'm showing a few examples of his artwork in the screen. He may have had these images come to him in a dream or a nightmare. And as you could probably guess, this artist takes frequent trips to the uncanny valley. Ugh. So I mentioned that Billy playing at this particular piano bar was akin to taking a crazy sociology class. It's like a character study of different types of alcoholics. So let's go ahead and dive into the characters of Piano Man. So you could bet your sweet behind that Billy met all kinds of people during his stint at the executive room. And being the perceptive artist that he is, he either really mentioned the true person they really were, or he added backstories to each character. And mind you, the people mentioned in this song are real people. For example, John, he was a real bartender who worked at the executive room while Billy was playing there. And oh yeah, Paul, he was the dude that kept on saying that he was going to write the next great American novel. You know, he's like the guy who has his laptop open, typing away at Starbucks, claiming that he's gonna be the next Tarantino. Well, anyways, back to the song. So the novelist that Billy mentions, Paul, he became famous screenwriter Paul Thomas Anderson. Nah, I'm just kidding. But seriously, Paul and Davey, why the hell are you drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning? Why are you also there every single night? You guys really need help. Somebody give Paul and Davey some help. So for this next part, I wish I was kidding. You know the lady that was practicing politics?
And the waitress is practicing politics as the businessmen slowly get stoned.
Billy mentions this right before his piano solo. Who do you think that woman was? Well, I give you a hint. It was the woman who was behind every single 70s Billy Joel hit. Yes. It was his wife, Elizabeth Weber. I don't know, I'm lost for words. In each of the videos that I've made about Billy Joel, we've met Elizabeth Weber. Yeah, it's true. She was behind Billy Joel's 70s hits, either indirectly or directly inspired them. It's nuts. Yeah, all great artists have been smitten before. And those men and women muses of these great artists were responsible for giving their artists these great achievements. For example, Chopin had George Sand. Leonardo da Vinci had Salai. Robert Schumann had Clara. Beethoven had his elusive immortal beloved. It happens, yes, it happens. I'm not even mad. So if Elizabeth Weber was responsible for Billy composing all these great songs, I applaud her. That's just something to be admired. I mean, I'm still awestruck on the fact of her involvement behind his greatest songs. So let's go ahead and mosey down the piano and do a quick analysis of what makes Piano Man an awesome song. So this song has that jazzy beginning. Forgive me for playing it sloppy. And this song is great because of its infectious melody. I mean, let's be honest here. Billy Joel is one of the best melody writers out there. And at the same time, this tune is very simple musically. And in interviews, Billy mentioned that this song wasn't so special musically. I mean, it's a simple melody. It goes. But that's the thing. That's the thing about people in general. We like simple things. We like simple riffs.
We like catchy riffs, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, it has that stress first beat, which is one of the reasons why it's so sway-y, I guess you'd call it. Like you want to wrap your arm around a friend and there's a sway. So that sway ability of the song is one of the reasons why it's so popular. And when I say infectious, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. On the contrary, if your song is sung by millions of people in karaoke bars and in cars, you have a successful song and you deserve that royalty check you're getting for years. Alright, so we will do a quick run through of the chords in the beginning of the song, which happen to have the same chord progression as the chorus and the verses, albeit a few differences here and there, but they're very minor. Alright, let's get on with it. Oh yeah, and chords will be on the screen. Okay, the first thing you notice is a game of touch and go between the left hand and the right hand. And what I mean by that is that the left hand plays first and the right hand follows. And the right hand follows by playing the chords dictated by what the left hand is playing. Now be aware, I am posting and playing the chords that Billy plays on the album. But when you take away the sus chords and when you're taking away the seventh chords, essentially you're just playing 4 chords, which are shown on the screen. Also, if you're wondering why you see a D major chord in a song that's in the key of C, that's because D major is the dominant chord of G major, which in turn is the dominant chord of our key, C major. Well, this is one of the most common forms of modulation, called a secondary dominant. And in music theory terms, our D major is our 5 of 5. And the symbol of that is capital Roman numeral V for 5 / capital Roman numeral V. So we'll wrap Piano Man up by playing that awesome solo, and then we'll talk about the scale that he uses. So with the exception of the D major chord and the F major chord in the solo, we are playing the hexatonic blues scale, which is basically the pentatonic scale with the added diminished fifth, the tritone. And this is what it sounds like. So the hexatonic blues scale was one of the few cool things I wanted to mention about this song. I just wanted to throw this out there because when people think of certain scales, they think that the whole composition is written in that particular scale, which is simply not true. And music would be really boring if that was the case. Well, anyways, the solo is something I'm always pumped to play every time I play this song. It's a solo that's not too difficult to play, but it's something that people get their minds blown when they hear it live. And real talk, this is a song in which every time I play, I feel the camaraderie and the electricity around the room. And when people start singing the chorus, it brings people of all backgrounds together. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, that's the power of music.
And there you have it, folks. Piano Man demystified. Piano Man is an important piece of American music, and that's putting it simply. Everybody knows this song. In every karaoke night, I hear at least one rendition of Piano Man, and it's usually those obnoxious drunk people. And not only that, it's ingrained in our culture. Well, check this. In 2016, the Library of Congress chose Piano Man to be preserved due to it being culturally, historically, and artistically significant. So think about this for a minute. The Library of Congress, our nation's highest and largest library. In fact, I think it's the largest library in the world. If they agree to preserve your work due to it being culturally, historically, or artistically significant, in my humble opinion, that is the highest honor in the land. So why do I think Piano Man is the greatest Billy Joel song? other than it being culturally significant. I think that its simplicity cannot be overstated. It's a simple song, but it's dangerously catchy, which is probably the hardest type of music to write. How can you know that a song that you just wrote would be a worldwide phenomenon? Even Billy himself doesn't understand the why of this song being so popular. He just accepted its popularity and has since closed every single one of his shows with Piano Man in his set of encores. Billy is aware that he is the Piano Man and the song Piano Man made him. So he lives and breathes the persona, and he has embraced it for almost 50 years. And yeah, there are artists and bands out there who refuse to play their most popular songs. For example,
Radiohead refused to play their song Creep all the way up until 2016 when they finally yielded to their fans' demands.
Nirvana, back in the day when they were still around, refused to play Smells Like Teen Spirit. And even our boy Billy refused to play She's Always a Woman after his divorce with Elizabeth Weber. Artists sometimes refuse to play songs for the craziest of reasons or the most outlandish of reasons. It happens.
But just imagine if Billy refused to play Piano Man.
That is unheard of. And he knows that that is absurd. He uses Piano Man to pay back his fans for all their years of loyalty. And Billy has always struck me a person who is all about his fans and a dude that is grateful for them. And another reason why I think this song is awesome, the chords are straightforward. The triple meter is straightforward. The descending bass line is straightforward. This song is a masterclass in simplicity.
And a song this catchy and this simple achieving legendary status,
like I said, is very difficult to do as a songwriter. And I want to talk a little bit more about simplicity in music. There are artists that kick themselves when they hear another band or musician play something very simple and gain a lot of success with that particular song that uses that sort of simplicity. Well, descending bass lines and waltz-like repetitive chords are musical cliches, in my opinion. Well, what makes Piano Man really work is not those chords or the bass lines or the accordion, but it's the story. It's the characters in the song. Billy is singing about the human condition of hopelessness and sadness and why people could drown themselves in sorrow. This is what the song is about. It's a character study of one of the most depressing people alive. And a subject like this makes for good content. It will always make for good content. There are countless movies about this. There are countless shows about this. There's countless songs about this. People cannot get enough of melancholiness. They can't get enough of sadness. And guess what? That's okay. This is why music has endured since prehistory. So yeah, I guess you could say the existential theme of this song is what makes it so good. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed picking the brain of Billy Joel as much as I have. There's not going to be a lot of people that agree with my top Billy Joel songs, but that's okay. We all have our different opinions. That's totally fine.
But I hope that I gave you guys good reasons on why I picked these songs.
By the way, I'm wondering, what are your top Billy Joel songs? And what are your reasons behind them? I would really like to know in the comment section. So before I sign off, I would like to say thank you for watching this video. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my videos, and give me a few comments on a couple of my videos. I would very much appreciate that. I have a bunch of content on the way. Stay tuned. Please click the bell icon so that way you're aware when I release videos. And I hope you folks continue to watch my videos. Again, thank you very much. My name is Gary Castro. Thank you for watching this production of Ludwig Lane Studios. I'll catch you next time.